Okay, so now let us proceed to profit and loss. Profit and loss. One measure to check if a business is doing well is by determining whether or not it is making a profit. So it means to say that profit is one way to check if your business is doing fine. So if your business is not producing any kind or any amount of profit, your business is not in a good condition. So in definition, profit is the amount left from revenue or sales after all costs or expenses had been deducted. It is defined as a gain in business and simply the difference between gross revenue and total cost, provided that the revenue is greater than the cost. So in definition, if your business is in a profitable situation, the formula is profit is equal to revenue minus the cost, where revenue is greater than the cost. Simply means that the revenue exceeds the cost, so the business earns profit. Therefore, we can say that the business is profitable. Next formula to be followed, and if your business doesn't produce any kind of profit, then your business is in the loss mode. So the formula to be used is loss is equal to revenue minus the cost, where revenue is less than the cost. Simply means that the cost of production exceeds the revenue. Therefore, we can say that the business is at risk or is at loss. Loss in business. Loss, it is defined as what occurred when the costs and the expenses exceed the revenue or sales. The loss of a business is the difference between the total and the generated revenue, provided that the cost is greater than the revenue. Then the loss is the amount of money that still needs to be settled after all the costs and payables have been deducted from the earnings generated. So in general, the profit or loss of a business is given by the formula profit or loss is equal to revenue minus the cost. Whether we cannot predict if our business in the near future will have a profitable amount or a profitable result, or it may occur to a loss of your product. So how to avoid loss in terms of business? So the first one is add new and innovative products and services in your business. So by means of innovating your product or to add a more creative way of producing a new product, you can boost your client's interest in buying your product. Next, make use of modern technology that saves time, money, and energy. Next, apply low strategies. Next, optimize your website in an attractive way. So if your website is having an attractive way of commercializing your own business. Therefore, it is catchy to the eyes of the viewer, as well as it can also promote big impact to the client or customers. And lastly, treat your business a business, not as a hobby or a side job. Therefore, when we are having a business is a business, and what matter is we gain profit in our business. So the formula for profit percent is equal to profit divided by the cost times 100%. Okay, again, the formula for profit percent is equal to profit divided by the cost times 100 or 100%. Example number 2. A carinderia owner earned a total of 5,650 pesos for the day. Looking at her notebook, she noted that she spent a total of 3,125 on the same day to cover all the ingredients and other things she used for her store, determining her profit for the day if any. So we have a revenue given in our problem. So the carinderia owner earned a total of 5,650 for that day. That is our revenue. And the amount she spent, or the total amount she spent by that day, or by the same day, covering all ingredients and other expenses, that is our cost, the total amount of expenses. So meaning we can simply substitute revenue and cost to our problem by means of using profit is equivalent to revenue minus the cost. So her gross revenue is 5,650, while her total cost is equivalent to 3,125 pesos. Then her profit is given by, so if we calculated the amount of profit, that is, profit is equivalent to revenue minus the cost. So that is equal to 5,650 minus 3,125. That will give us an amount of 2,525. Therefore, our profit earned is equal to 2,525 pesos. Example number 3. Mimi Yu owns a small pastry shop that sells cupcakes. Last month, she was able to sell 1,012 cupcakes for 45 pesos each. So 1,012 cupcakes is the total number of cupcakes she was able to sell last month for 45 pesos each. Okay, so one cupcake has an amount of 45 pesos. Okay, so next statement, to produce one cupcake, she has to spend 33 pesos for the ingredients. Aside from the cost of goods bought, she also has to pay for rent and electricity that amount to 4,000 pesos and 2,300 pesos respectively. So the question here is, how much is her profit for the month, if any? Okay, so for our solution, the amount of her total sales is equivalent to the amount she was able to sell last month, that is 1,012 cupcakes times the amount, which is 45 pesos each. That is the number of cupcakes times the amount for each cupcake. So 45 times 1,012, that will give us the value of 45,540 pesos. So that is already our revenue. So while here production costs is stated as or related to the costs of the ingredients, or the amount of ingredients she spent, that is 33 pesos times the number of cupcake she sold, that is already given also in the problem to be 1,012. So that means her production cost is the amount she spent for ingredients times the number of cupcakes. So that's 33 pesos times 1,012. That will give us an amount of 33,396 pesos. That is already our production cost. Then her profit is given by profit is equivalent to revenue minus the cost. So isasama pa natin dito sa expenses or sa cost yung mga nagastos niya sa electricity, that has an amount of 2,300 pesos, at yung nagastos niya sa rent, so or sa pagrenta niya ng pwesto niya, that is equivalent to 4,000 pesos. So in our calculation, therefore, the profit is equivalent to 45,540 pesos minus the production cost plus the amount or the payable amount for rent plus the amount of electricity. So isosolve muna natin yung sum or yung total ng cost natin bago natin i-minus sa ating revenue. So we will solve now. Okay? We will add those 33,396 plus 4,000 plus 2,300, and the equivalent amount is equivalent to 39,696. So using our formula, profit is equivalent to revenue minus the cost, that is 45,540 minus 39,696. That will give us a profitable amount of 5,844 pesos. Therefore, 5,844 pesos is our total profit gain. Okay, so example number 4. Andres designs and produces customized shirts. He sells them for 250 per shirt. Plain shirt costs him 120 pesos, and his monthly utilities, including the rent and the electricity, cost him 7,410 pesos. So the question here is, how many customized shirts should he sell to avoid incurring losses? So for our solution, let X be the number of shirts Andres needs to sell for him to avoid losses. So his total revenue must be greater than the total cost to avoid any kind of loss. That is the idea or the principles of getting a profit. The revenue must be always greater than the cost. So we will identify first our revenue times the number of shirts Andres needs to sell, which is our X. Okay, so in our problem, he sells them for 250 pesos per shirt. That is already an amount of our revenue times the number of shirts Andres needs to sell. That makes our equation 250x greater than the cost. So it states in our problem, or it is stated already in our problem, that the plain shirts cost him also an amount of 120 pesos. So we need to multiply that amount also to the number of shirts Andres needs to sell. That's 120 pesos amount is already our expenses times the number of shirts Andres needs to sell. That makes it 120x plus, or idadagdag pa natin dito yung mga amount na nagastos niya sa pagrenta niya at sa mga electricity, okay, sa kuryente at sa pagrenta niya. Okay, so that is equivalent to 7,410 pesos. Okay, so 120x plus 7,410 is the total amount of our costs. Okay, 250x greater than 120x plus 7,410. Okay, so to solve for the value of our x, dahil yung x naman ang yung hinahanap natin sa ating problem, that is the number of shirt Andres needs to sell to avoid losses. Okay, so we transpose, okay, we combine like terms, so we transpose 120x to the left side of our equation. Since that 120x is positive, pag nilipat natin sa kabilang side, magiging negative 120x siya. Okay? So, yung mangyayari, magiging 250x minus 120x na greater than 7,410. Okay, So what is 250x minus 120x? That will give you an amount of 130x greater than 7,410. Okay? So, in order to solve for the value of our x, we divide both sides by 130. So, divided both sides by 130. Okay? So, we notice that 130 will be cancelled out in our equation. Okay, so matitira na lang ay x, okay, greater than 7,410 over 130. So what is 7,410 divided by 130? That will give you a value of 57. Therefore, x is greater than 57. Therefore, Andres has to sell more than 57 shirts, okay, based in our notation here. That is our final answer.